Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Craig Muller, Director of Professional Services for RADWIN. Again, I'd like to thank you for taking some time to spend with me. I know we're all extremely busy. I'd like to introduce the RADWIN Jet Duo 5 gigahertz. Very excited about this product. RADWIN, we're a leading provider of broadband wireless solutions. We truly are a global company, so when things are going on like they are today, I have a very interesting perspective because I'm hearing from a lot of people from our 18 regional offices worldwide. Our global network of over 200 Tier 1 partners, deployments in 170 plus different countries, and well over 1 million radios installed globally. A little update on COVID-19. Obviously, it's impacting every part of our society around the world. But here at RADWIN, we are working as usual, most of us from home. Our manufacturing in Singapore and Israel are as usual operations, and we are in full work mode currently. Our distributors are well stocked up and ready to fulfill your orders. Our sub 6 gigahertz point to multi-point offering is really, the hallmark of our company. We have the Jet Pro base station that's been around for 3 or 4 years now, up to 750 meg. The Jet Air up to 250 meg. And what we're here to talk about today is the Jet Duo, the 5X and also the 3X where that's applicable. The United States is only the 5X. What you get from us is a carrier-grade point-to-multipoint powered by beamforming. It's been very successful in the field over the last several years, and it delivers a unique performance to the end user. Our subscriber units, the SU Air and Pro 5.X integrated 1-foot panel, up to 500 meg on the Pro series, up to 250 on the Air. The embedded unit, SU Air and Pro 5X in the middle. You can see the two little nubs down at the bottom, the SMA connectors, where you can slide on the turbo gain antenna. That'll go up to 500 meg. And the SU Pro 3.X, where applicable, the integrated 1-foot panel up to 250 meg. We released the RADWIN 2000 Alpha earlier this year, highly cost-effective point-to-point for access and backhaul. In the United States, FCC, it's an integrated antenna in 50, 250, or 500 meg, upgradable with license keys, 4.9 to 5.9, and again, where applicable, the 3 gig band as well. On the right-hand side, you see the D+, which really started a lot of what we're doing today at RADWIN. All of the adaptive mechanisms were developed in this product and since enhanced. Up to 750 meg, 4.9 to 6.0. One of my favorite photos, and I want to use this as a frame of reference. This is 2 rings of radios, 8 Jet base stations. The top 4 are running 5.8 in back-to-back frequency reuse. The bottom 4 are running 5.1, again, using back-to-back frequency reuse, all 40 megahertz channels. This is the Duo. Imagine 2 of those Jet radios in a single package, and that's what you have right here. It is the size of a medium pizza box. It's very small. And what do you get with dual carrier beamforming? 2 radios in a single unit. Each radio transmits and receives a carrier of up to 750 meg with an 80 meg channel using different non-overlapping channels, right? So again, I think we all understand 80 megahertz and what that statement means, but 40 for sure all day long, just like we're doing with the single carrier Jet today. It feeds independent beamforming antennas. You get that narrow beam width to the subscriber unit of 8 degrees horizontal, covering that hard 90-degree sector. We really like to talk about that. We don't bleed into the adjacent sector and interfere with ourselves. We support separate customer groups. Think about running the top half on commercial and the bottom half for residential. You can mix and match however you want. Two clients can communicate simultaneously with the Jet Duo. One in the upper half of the radio, one in the lower half. The total capacity is up to 1.5 gig, 2x750. Frequency channels can be part of the same subband, so I can do 258, as long as they're not overlapping. And as a matter of fact, we don't allow you to. You'll see later on the mechanisms that are in place, so you don't self-interfere with yourself. There's slightly different rules with a radio like this. Or you can run 5.8 and 5.1. I think you'll see a lot of that, right? Just like you saw in the picture. The two different rings, the 5.8's the most powerful. It's going to go out the farthest. And then the 5.1's got some slightly less performance by regulation, and you'll be shooting a little bit less. So you're layered in there very, very nicely. Today, this radio, as it's shipping, supports 64 subscriber units total. There's an upgrade that's coming in Q2. That'll take you to 128, 64 times 2. It is the Pro version, Pro style radio, so you can do SLA or you can do best effort. The antenna gain per carrier is a robust 19 dBi. Frequency reuse of 2. Again, just like in the single carrier radio, one at 0, one at 180 degrees, for instance, I can run the same channel. At the same rad center. We like 5 feet back-to-back separation. SFP. We finally put an SFP on our radios. 1 gig full duplex, as well as the PoE connectivity to the WAN. FCC IC 5.1 and 5.8. The DFS bands will be coming in a subsequent software release. The Uni band is available 4.9 to 6 gig. Just like with our frequency reuse of 2 with our single carrier, only now we're doing it times 2. Again, as you saw in that photo of the 8 radios, it's the same concept. F1 and F2 together, they could be in the same subband, it could be a different subband, shooting at the opposites, right? F3 and F4 and so on and so forth. We always want to try to line those up as best as possible so we're not putting the same RF into the same geography where our subscriber units can see it. You can literally run your networks with only 2 pairs of channels. Unmatched service reliability in congested, unlicensed bands. That is a heck of a statement, and the Jet single carrier radio really changed everything I've known about 5.8, and I started 20 years ago this year in the 5.8 and been doing it ever since. It does allow you to work in congested areas. It's not going to, it's not a silver bullet, right? It doesn't relieve you of engineering responsibilities, but it does a heck of a job. I was just looking at a network this last week. Very difficult environment, very heavy noise, and watching this radio's adaptive mechanisms perform, it's almost mesmerizing. Better interference immunity. It is the 2nd generation beamforming antenna over the single carrier radio. Double that capacity for almost the same price as a Jet Pro. At the end of the day, you're getting 2 Jet Pro radios for significantly less than a single carrier radio. Single base station on a tower instead of 2 or more, right? You're saving money on tower space. I know I never like stroking that check every month. Saving on operating expenses. 1 footprint, very small. It's still a smaller radio than just about anything else out on the market. And for what it does, it absolutely outperforms everything else. Unparalleled interference immunity. Again, diversity per subscriber unit. You can switch between carriers. If your subscriber unit doesn't like the 5.8 band, you can flip them down to the 5.1 band very, very simply. Greater interference suppression through the RADWIN beamforming antenna. Dynamic channel bandwidth selection per subscriber unit per traffic direction, and optimized selection of clear channel in congested spectrum. So it gives you options, right? F1 and F2 beaming down in the same group of homes. We know what happens sometimes when some of the carrier equipment gets into place, or your direct TV or your dish in their nice 80 meg channel, and they swamp your house. They turn it into a dead zone for that band. You have an opportunity to switch out of that. You can go to the next sub band. You change him from F1 to F2 very, very easily. We are working on a subsequent release called dynamic carrier selection, where the radio will dynamically move radios from one band to another, okay, from the 5.8 to the 5.1, or from one carrier in the 5.8 to another carrier in the 5.8, depending on how you're deploying your radios. Look for that sometime later this year. Very excited about that feature. When we talk about the second generation beamforming antenna, we're talking about suppressing the interference by 20 dB on average, okay, versus 13 in the Jet Pro. All right, so what does that mean? I'm not going to have a better received signal level, right? I'm in an EIRP limited environment, but it's what do I do with all the noise that's out there? And if I can suppress the noise, ignore the noise, push that off to the side, and that's what we're doing here. We've changed, some of the characteristics of our beamforming antenna, and it's really helped. And this is what we're talking about. The delta between the main lobe and the side lobes, all right, is higher in the second generation, which reduces the level of interfering signal. I am looking forward to this radio in the field, and I know that many of you are as well. It's very exciting technology. The automatic mechanisms that everybody knows and loves that have used RADWIN in the past, the dynamic channel bandwidth selection that'll shift you from 80-40-20 or 40-20 dynamically, moving your signal away from interference dynamically, okay, like every 500 milliseconds if it needs to. The adaptive modulation, the auto MIMO diversity that comes in so handy in a lossless connection world. And that's all per subscriber unit, right? We have that one-to-one relationship with each one of our subscriber units, and the base station dictates, am I going to transmit in a 40 and receive in a 40? What modulation am I uplink and downlink? Auto MIMO, am I going to run MIMO or diversity? Each subscriber unit can be different, and it's how we do things here. Maximum capacity per customer is always the end game with that scenario. And again, lossless link availability is what we're all looking for out there today. The Duo supports that dynamic channel bandwidth selection in highly congested spectrum. The dual carrier enables even more optimization. Right now, I'm not just shifting between one channel size and another in one carrier. Now I have the opportunity to even shift to a whole new carrier and get way away from that noise if that's the challenge. Again, 80 megahertz channels I don't talk about too much out loud, but having those 40 meg channels in a single chassis, having two of them is priceless. Now, part numbers: FCC, ISED, and Uniband listed here. You also see our DC PoE and AC PoE part numbers. We have a very exciting switch that we're releasing very, very soon. Keep your eye open for a webinar coming to you very shortly. Very excited about that product as well. 5.1, 5.8 in the US. DFS bands planned in the roadmap. We'll see those later this year. Web-based manager. No longer are you going to need the RADWIN manager for this product set. It doesn't do anything about your current radios, but those of you that use RADWIN, you know how powerful the RADWIN manager is. And I think you'll appreciate a lot of the look and feel of our new web-based manager on the Duo is very friendly. It looks and feels to me a lot like the RADWIN manager, so it's compartmentalized properly in that way. And we'll take a look here. It manages an entire sector from a single point, from your base station point. It's aligned with all of our new designs, so if you've seen the 4.9.75 release of the subscriber units, you've seen the new GUI there, very much in the same vein. Management data ports, again, we also have an SFP on this product, so you get to pick where you want your data path. Of course, you've got to power the unit with the Cat5e, but you can run a fiber line up to these radios as well, and just run your data across that, as additional protection even. Frequency settings, again, carrier 1 and 2 can be in the same frequency band, or they can be in different subbands. They can at least be adjacent, so they can be right up against each other, but we don't allow them to overlap. You notice that the automatic channel selection is not enabled on this product. Of course, it will have to be on the DFS bands when those come out, but we don't want these radios shifting around, and again, you have channels you cannot select. The SVU registration process has been refined as well for this product, so I'm going to be able to see 2 carriers potentially in the same subband. As you see in this example here, this is running the 5.4 uni band, someplace not in the United States. And you see that I've got 2 carriers that I can see. And I can pick the one that I want, or I could evaluate either one. WINTouch release 1.12 and SU release 4.9.76 will support that. You see the HSU card view, as we call it. It looks like the size of a playing card. It's got all that information that you used to see in the same rendering in the RADWIN manager. All that information, at a glance. You can see all of your sector information, in great detail there on the left. Carrier information, subscriber unit information. Again, it's all right in front of you, and you even get a help and an about setting. If you ever have any challenges, you click on help, it'll take you to the latest manual. The icon view, so making it much smaller when you have those sectors that have 40, 50, 60 clients, and you want to see as many as you possibly can. This is the view you'd use there. The feature roadmap, and again, this is coming at the end of Q2 at the current. 2x64 subscriber units, dynamic carrier selection per subscriber, the 5354 DFS bands for the FCC, Radius AAA, 32 service categories, PPOE, DHCP filtering, DHCP option 82, 802.1x authentication, the subscriber upgrade with no IP address. So the indirect upgrade functionality will be activated. Management over SSH, the SU bridge table retrieval, and activating nomadic mode. So again, I've been looking for this radio for quite some time. I'm very happy that it's finally here. Huge capacity. It opens up some new opportunities for you. The service reliability, now we talk about the value of a per radio and a 2 radio chassis. Let's bring it on. All right. Thank you very much. Let's take a look and see what is going on with questions here. These are aggregate radios, unlicensed radios. The question was, are these capacities on uplink and downlink? 750 meg aggregate max. Is it possible to get a Jet Duo 5 gig AP and SM for testing? Samuel, email me, and we'll take a look. Definitely can hook you up with that. How many subscriber units per sector versus capacity delivered per subscriber units? I don't know exactly what that means, but we talk about oversubscription. I personally like to talk about 5-to-1 oversubscription. So, on this radio, I would probably, be interested in selling about 1.5 gig per half of the radio. So about 3 gig per azimuth with this particular chassis, depending on the makeup of your service offerings, right? We are typically 25, 50, and 100 meg to the home with our products. I don't expect that to shrink anytime soon. 1.5 gig of capacity, right? James, the fiber is full duplex. Effective range, EIRP limited radios, depends on what your what your service offering is, right? If you want to serve 100 meg to the home, again, which is, what's happening today, right? You're 3 miles or less with this product. All right, you can get out a little bit farther, right? But you leave yourself, open, right? These RF environments breathe. Your trees grow, your leaves come in and out, right? You want to be, cognizant of that. So we have people that are out significantly farther, right? 6, 7, 8 miles, no problem. Depends on what they're offering. Oh, by maximum distance is like 25 miles if you want to go by software. Reality is going to be less than that. Limit the number of subscribers per sector is currently 64 for the entire unit. It'll be 128 in the software upgrade that's coming in this quarter. Does the Jet Pro now support the new web interface in 4.9.75? No, the new GUI is only for the Duo. It does not do anything for the current single carrier Jet radio. Encryption, our radios are 128 AES encrypted out of the box. We do not currently offer 256 AES. Current pricing, $7,200. Plans for a CLI. We are looking at enhancing that, and there's some work going on in the background. All right. If anybody else has any other, hold on a second. Will 3.5 band be available in the U.S.? It will not. We are not doing CBRS at RADWIN. This is a point to multi-point radio. We do have some plans for a higher capacity point-to-point radio, but that is much later in this calendar year. The subscriber unit. Depending on which subscriber unit we're talking about, but let's talk about my favorite subscriber unit, and that is the integrated air subscriber at 100 meg. That is a street price, year price of $249. The embedded unit, which is the smaller subscriber unit, the 100 meg air subscriber is $199 year price. Yes. That is a very good question, Wayne, and I believe that is, to me, where we're going. And the question is about dual carrier CPEs that can take advantage of both carriers. I think it's about demand, and ultimately, the price goes up on the subscriber unit, and I'm sure that a couple of you would probably agree that price is important on the subscriber side. So keeping that down. But if there's an opportunity, because I see it, we're going to get to the point where we'll be able to put a gig in the home, right? Or pretty close to it. Is the 2000 Alpha chassis like the 5 Alpha Zero HSU? It is it is just like the integrated subscriber unit. As a matter of fact, and thank you very much, Michael, you can actually convert a Pro subscriber unit integrated into an Alpha or vice versa. It is essentially the same hardware, and it just needs a changeover, and that is a license key that can be purchased. Oh, Mohammed, absolutely. Video surveillance. We're talking about, and I'm sorry I didn't look it up precisely, but probably close to 500,000 packets per second on this radio. I mean, that's what we, we do best is video. And if you do video great, then everything else, seems to work out pretty well at the end as well. And everybody, if you have a question for me, please, here's my email address. I certainly would love to spend some more time with you all and help you figure out where we can put some RADWIN in your network and make your clients happy. Please be safe out there. Take care of each other. Take care of your families. And I look forward to seeing you all down the road. And thank you very much.